Hello, 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 my lovely watchers, and thank you for coming back to my channel. This is my wealth series, my wealth diary series, where I'm talking about the money mistakes that I've made and how I am just now starting my wealth building journey after making multi-millions and the steps that I'm doing to be able to retire by the age of 35 if I want to. In my past video, I talked all about the big money mistakes that I made, even at the $1 million level, and how making more money did not solve all of my problems, that I had to choose wealth. And so now I'm breaking down exactly how I'm building wealth from scratch. So I also want to name that it's not 100% from scratch. I do currently own a home. I have paid off over $100,000 of debt. I have more debt to pay off, but I'm not starting completely from scratch. But I'm also not, rolling in the dough either. And I think that's one of the misconceptions from $1 million coaches is you think just because you've made all that money, you have it, when my business also had a lot of expenses, and also I didn't make the wisest decisions with my money. So now I'm on a much more intentional plan to build wealth. So the first thing that I had to decide on is creating my money team. So for a while, I had a business team. I had a business team to help me bring in sales, figure out my operations, deal with my clients, help me put out my marketing materials. That's what my business team does. And because I invested in a business team, I had great business results. But this is the first time that I'm actually figuring out my money team as well. If I want to have just as great results that I do in business with my money, I have to create a money team. And that money team includes a wealth coach, a budgeting coach, and a financial planner. So I love coaching, obviously. It's one of my favorite things to invest in. So I put all of my intention in making sure that I had a wealth coach who taught me a wealth mindset and a wealth strategy, a budgeting coach to tell me a budgeting mindset and a budgeting strategy, and then also a financial planner to kind of manage both sides of the house and keep us on track with our portfolio goals. So those are the three money team investments that I have put in and that I have structured. And honestly, I like them more than the business ones. They're super exciting to talk to, and I wish that I hired them sooner. I wish I hired them during my first six-figure year. We would have been in a completely different place, but I'm excited that I'm starting now. The second thing that I did is after I hired my money team, and particularly with the budgeting coaches, I put myself on a business budget and a personal budget. And again, budgeting does not mean restriction, but I put myself more on a plan. Like, okay, how much do I plan on spending on shopping, going out to eat, traveling? How much do I plan on coaches and investments and going to fun conferences? So not restricting myself, but having a plan so that we can start to fill in those buckets and save that money. And so once I figured out, okay, my plan, I made lots of decisions. I let go of some team members that were not adding to the ROI. I decided to reallocate some of my investments to fuel my business goals and my money goals. Having that plan cleaned a lot up. And actually looking at all my numbers and combing through every expense, no matter how painful it was one of the best things that I did to figure out my wealth goals. It also made everything a lot more possible, being like, no, I do have some money to put into the stock market. I do have some money to pay off more debt. I do have some money to invest in a house or in real estate. I do have the money, because for a while, it felt like I didn't have the money. I was really excited once I looked at my plans and realized that I do have extra cash to add to my wealth goals. Once I looked at my budgets for when I was actually planning my money and spending my money, I then looked at how do I increase cash flow. And I think this is an important step. After you look at baseline what you have, then you can go to increasing your cash flow. I always did it the opposite. I would increase cash flow first, and then because I didn't have a plan, it would all get spent in ways that I couldn't see. But now that I have a plan and I increase cash flow, I can actually see the profit and the surplus and the extra I would have over to then put into wealth vehicles. So I looked at my launches, I looked at my audience size, I looked at increasing my launches and adding more sales to my business. I looked at more opportunities for people to buy from me. I looked at ways where I can strengthen my business and make more sales. As a fourth step, all the way down the list, this is when I looked at actually increasing my sales. So then here is where we actually get into the wealth building vehicles. So with my wealth coach, I asked her, I said, okay, I want to have the ability to retire at age 35. that's a very like arbitrary goal, but it's for a few sentimental reasons. So by age 35, I hope to have a family someday. And I want to be a very present mother where if I don't want to work, I don't want to have to work. So I want to be able to set myself up financially to where if I wanted to close down my business, if I wanted to, I absolutely had the chance. That probably will not happen. I'll probably be itching to get back to work. I know that so many like female entrepreneurs like experiences, like they're itching to get back to work, but I just want to set myself up for every possible scenario. I also want to be able to do that for my family and my husband as well. If he doesn't want to work once we have a family, I want to be able to provide us that option. So that's why 35 retired is our goal. What that means tactically is we want to be able to pull $20,000 from the stock market. We want to be able to pull that money from the stock market every single month so that we do not have to rely on any income. We can just pull from our investments. It's called dividends. We can pull that money and live off the stock market $20,000 a month. That will be more than enough to cover all of our bills and to provide us with a great lifestyle. And that is if we invest heavily in the stock market. So my wealth coach put together this plan where I put multiple six figures into the stock market at once, and then a smaller amount from there for about 8 to 9 years. And then that is when I'll be able to retire by the age of 35. Now, if you do the math, I'm 28 right now. So then 35 is about 7 years from now. So that's cutting us a little short. But knowing my business and how well I'm able to sell, we'll be able to put in more to shorten in that time frame. And so that's our plan, where we have specific goals on how much we need to put in the stock market each year so that by the time I'm 35, that option is available to us. With our stock market goal, that will help fuel all of our other goals as well. When we're able to have that very lucrative stock portfolio, we then are able to do a couple of different things. We can take some of our dividends and pay off debt. And so the interest and all of the earnings from the money in the stock market, that can pay off debt versus my cash right now. Does that make sense? So say we put in $500,000 in the stock market and then make $750,000 for us, we can take some of that $250,000 that we earn and we could put that towards our debt. So what the stock market earned for us can help us pay off our debt. So we're thinking a lot smarter and a lot more strategic than just using straight up cash. So our stock goals will also help us pay off debt, and also we plan on using the stock market to invest in real estate down the line. I want a house in the DC area, particularly in Maryland, about 20-30 minutes from DC, and I want a house in New York City as well. Those are my dream homes, and we want to utilize the stock market to fuel both of those goals. We also want to pay cash for those houses. Now, we might put a significant down deposit and get a mortgage out later. That's a lot smaller. That's always an option. But we want to put as much down as possible for those houses, especially as the interest rates are going up and up and up. So those are my wealth goals. That is our wealth plan from scratch that I have. I'm super excited, and I think the things that really work about this wealth plan is it's clear, it's specific, it's time-based, and I'm working on something other than just growing my money and just making more money. I actually have an energy and a fuel and what I'm doing all of this for, which is for me and my family. And so of course we have other goals as well. We want to start a nonprofit, and we want to give to our nonprofit in the future too. But this is just for my personal growth. After making $1 million, what do I want my business to represent? What do I want to be able to show for it? That's what my wealth plan is for me. So I hope this inspired you, and thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.